LinkedIn just changed forever. The old way of getting clients, which was sending a ton of connection requests, sending a bunch of spammy messages, and posting super cringe content, that's dead. But what's interesting is that I know a lot of agencies are struggling to get qualified leads on LinkedIn right now, but the top 1% are really crushing it. And I know because I've worked with over 250 agencies in the last 12 months alone, helping them adapt their LinkedIn strategies to the new algorithm. And what's even better is that these are the exact strategies I use to build and sell a 7-figure agency in a 7-figure deal. In this video, I am going to show you exactly how forward-thinking agencies are using LinkedIn in 2025 to get qualified leads, hitting them up in their DMs every single day. And the best part is you can do it without spending money on ads. You can do it without blasting everyone on the internet with DMs. You can do it without dancing in front of the camera, and you can definitely do it without making crazy, I'm gonna get you 1 billion leads or you don't pay type promises. But before I reveal those strategies, I just wanna show you something. Okay, so this is my analytics dashboard, and I wanna stress that you could do a lot better than this with my strategies if you actually did them every day. Like when you get this many leads, you get pretty lazy pretty fast. But last 365 days, 4.5 million impressions, 450, this is individual posts, 450,000 impressions, 413,000 impressions, 200,000 impressions, and let's just look at some more. 450,000, 413, 200,000, 180,000, 180,000, 170. Yeah, and you'll notice that a lot of these are like the same post. Like I'm literally just reposting. You'll still get 100,000, reposting, reposting, reposting. So this is just all impression numbers. So impressions are not that sexy really. So let's look at opt-ins. So this is today. This is today's data. I have opted in 1,400 people to my email list today. So within the last, this is 1st to the 15th, the 1st to the 15th. So within the last 4 hours, I've opted in that many people. I've opted them all in from one free LinkedIn post. I didn't pay any money for this. I didn't run any ads on this. Literally just this post. So far today, I've done 1,400. By the time this stops, I'll probably do 3,000, something like that. So that's leads. We've demonstrated leads. We've demonstrated impressions. Let me demonstrate some results from my other clients. So this is just a bunch of testimonials to me. Best course of agency leads. This guy doubled revenue in 2 months. This guy booked 2 calls right away. Evan says price to value ratio the best I've ever seen. Nativ says he's bought 10 to 15 different courses, and this is the most gems. Jesse's booked a ton of calls. Hal's booked a ton of calls. Gerard booked a ton of calls. Sarah's booked calls. So yeah, so basically there's hundreds of these. So that's that. So I'm going to show you why the old way doesn't work anymore. Show you what the new way is. So some things that you really need to think about. Key platform changes. LinkedIn has become more TikTok-like. So what you need to understand is that someone somewhere in LinkedIn has been saying the word TikTok a lot. And what that means is they're starting to try to do kind of TikTok-y stuff. What that means is they're pushing video. I'm not really like a big proponent of video, not because I don't think it's useful. It's just not really what I wanted to do up until now. But what that does mean is a fundamental change in the way that the platform operates. LinkedIn, like with many other social media platforms, used to be what's called a social graph. A social graph shows you the posts of people that you are connected to in your feed. TikTok fundamentally works quite differently. It's what's called a content graph. It shows you the top performing content by anyone, regardless of whether or not you are connected to them. Now, all the other social media platforms are trying to take a leaf out of TikTok's book and trying to become more like content graphs and less like social graphs. So what this means is you're seeing less posts from people that you're connected to and more posts generally. And it also means that a smaller percentage of the posts are getting a higher percentage of the impressions. So now the top 1% of posts are taking much, much more of the engagement. Now, this is quite funny on LinkedIn because on TikTok, there's a bajillion people trying to make content. It's an extremely competitive environment. There's a lot of people really trying to capture the eyeballs. There's a lot of different kinds of niches, you know, like that marketplace is really well served of like people wanting to watch things and people making things. On LinkedIn, literally like 1% of people, I think there is a stat about this somewhere, 1% of people with LinkedIn accounts have ever posted on LinkedIn. So it's a content efficient platform. There's really not that much content there. And so what happens when you start to squeeze it and you start to try to give all the impressions to the top 1% of posts is is that the top 1% of posts all start looking pretty similar pretty quickly. Everyone's on LinkedIn for the same reason, which is to get some leads for your business. And so it's just the same stuff over and over and over. And so what this has done is it's really rewarded people who kind of game the algorithm a little bit and do this like comment to get stuff. So I've been doing this commenting to get whatever, and a lot of people have been doing this. I'm definitely not the only person to be doing this. Wanted to show you this post because this, just to show you kind of LinkedIn history here. I can't believe I'm saying this. Here's one I did like 7 months ago. So what you have to do is you do a very big, bold statement. The hook needs to demonstrate that you are credible, that you are of more value than the average person, and that you put a lot of work into doing this thing. So it needs to be both your own specific personal credibility as quantified by a large number, and also the amount of effort that you put into the thing. So I closed $5 million of inbound agency revenue from LinkedIn, giving away the swipe file of posts. It has hundreds of high performing posts tagged by their objective, blah, blah, blah. And honestly, I wouldn't even call this a swipe file. It's a doc that literally holds your hand to make it to writing LinkedIn posts that fill your calendar with inbound leads. To make it easy for you, for each post, I did this, this, this. Social proof, over 1,000 agency owners already have this. And then this is the key, comment and I'll send it to you, must be connected. So what you're doing is you're causing like a positive feedback loop here. You are saying, hey, you have to do this comment and then I will send you the thing. The more people comment, the more the algorithm sees this as a top performing piece of content and sends it to more people, and then more people comment, and it just keeps going and going and going. This one did 5,000 comments. It did 450,000 impressions. I paid nothing for this. What's funny about this is just notice this content, like this copy. I did blank. I'm giving away the blank. Here's what it has. Here's a list of things. And honestly, I wouldn't even call it this. It's a this. To make it easy for you, I did this. Now, if you go to LinkedIn and you search for, and honestly, I wouldn't even call it, you will now see literally hundreds of people using this exact copy that I wrote 7 months ago. I think it's just interesting to see how these tactics move through time, like hundreds and hundreds of them. Look, it just really does what the algorithm wants you to do. It sets up this very bold claim. It creates some sort of curiosity, and then it suggests that you're going to give something away. It provides the outcome. It's very clearly written. The algorithm really likes clear writing. And then it has this like, oh, it's got this turn. It's not just a lead magnet. It's more than that. One interesting thing is that I don't suggest using the word honestly in sales. It makes people think that you have been dishonest up until now, and it's not something that I would typically say. So it's funny that I included this in this piece of copy, and it's also funny that this is kind of like creating the culture of LinkedIn, but it is what it is, you know? You can see there's pages and pages and pages of people using this, and they're doing quite well. The old way was you were just trying to reach your ICP. This is what I used to do. I used to spend a lot of time writing really specifically to my ICP, to really thinking about, okay, what does the CMO of a $20 million e-commerce brand want to see in their feed? Because that's the only person that I wanted to talk to. And I would write really specifically for them. I would write, in their voice. I would write for really specific challenges they were having, and they would reach out to me and I would book calls. But the challenge is now that the platform really wants this like viral style content. And so it's very difficult to cut through the noise. And if you were to write just for those specific people, you wouldn't get enough traction to get in front of them. The old way was writing these really hyper-specific posts. The new way is getting these lead magnets and templates into the feed and getting a lot of leads, capturing a very wide net. So one other thing that you should know and understand is that it's very difficult to change the percentage of high quality leads that you get. Very difficult. And so one thing that I hear a lot is, well, I don't want to do these lead magnets because I just get other marketers opting in for my thing. Or like, oh, I just don't want to deal with these low quality leads. Stuff like that I hear all the time. And my answer to that is, well, there's only a certain percentage of very high quality businesses. It's literally impossible. You cannot change the percentage of high quality businesses that there are. And so the percentage of them that you see when you do this kind of top of funnel, it's going to be pretty much the same all the time. There's really not that much you can do about it. I run analytics on people who opt in. Like I know that my ICP, it's like 35% of people who opt in, which is pretty good. It's much easier to double the amount of leads that you get total than to double the percentage of qualified leads that you get. Way easier. It's way easier for me to go and get 2,000 leads than it is for me to get twice as many super, super high quality leads. And I end up doing the same thing anyway. So you should focus on volume, just focus on getting more, and then you will see that the quality comes from that. I'm going to share some new strategies that people are using, that I'm using as well, that I think are things that are all things that I would recommend. In terms of automation, now look, like technically you're not allowed to do LinkedIn automation. You'll be fine. You should have a Sales Navigator account because that makes you a paying customer of LinkedIn. If you're a paying customer of LinkedIn, they really don't want to ban your account. You also don't go crazy. Don't try to spam people. Don't breach the limits and work your way up. That being said, there are many, many, many people using automation tools. It's going to save you time and make your life easier. There's a new tool called Prosp AI. I really like it. I've been using it. I have a nice partnership with Yan, who's the founder. I like them. They're working fast. They're iterating fast. It's got a bunch of features that a lot of the other ones don't have. So I would recommend this. Cool thing about it is it lets you do voice notes very easily. Voice notes are working really well right now. It also just has really easy to build campaigns. You can pull in leads from the platform. You can automatically respond to comments. There's just some nice features that have been built around the new environment of LinkedIn. 95% of agency owners that I speak to are not currently running connection request campaigns. And to me, that is absolutely crazy because your ICP are very unlikely to reach out to you and connect with you. It's really not going to happen because there's so many sellers on LinkedIn. There's so many people trying to sell something that's a little bit overwhelming for a buyer in general. It's just oh, that's too much. So you really want to be creating connections with your ideal clients all the time. It's just such a low lift, obvious thing to do that almost nobody is doing. So this is typically one of the first things that I ask people to set up. Your job is not to sell. It's not like cold email where you're building this list and it's you have one chance to ask them something. If they don't want to get on the call, then they're not going to talk to you again. Think about it as you're broadening your network and you're bringing in people who you'd be willing to talk to in the future. By the time you get on a call with them, they've probably forgotten that you connected with them. So treat your connection requests like they're valuable. You only get a small amount of them. Try to connect with a list where you would be willing to have a conversation with 80% of people on that list. Strategy number 2 is lead magnets. So I just showed you some lead magnets before. What we're talking about is this kind of comment to get thing. And again, I showed you hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people who've copied my exact copy. I showed you my original copy from 7 months ago that did pretty well. And then here's one from today. This one I did 13 hours ago. The copy is not quite as good. Why is this copy not quite as good? Look how clearly this reads. Look how this scans. Look how this gets bigger as it goes down. The way the writing looks on the page, it makes a big difference to the platform. It's a little clunky here, but that's fine. Comment to get, blah, blah, blah. And we did 122,000 impressions today. And I opted in, I think it's up to 1,500, 1,600 people. So it's still working right now. People will say, oh, you shouldn't do this. And I guess my question is why? Why shouldn't you do this? It's working. People want the thing. Otherwise they wouldn't comment. And then I guess the point that people have made about you shouldn't do this is that a lot of the time people don't send you the resource and it's kind of a bad experience. Just send them the thing. Send them the thing. Prosp AI will allow you to send the thing automatically. And I also send it to them via cold email, but that's kind of another conversation. The key really, I guess here is where the backlash is really coming from, is that sometimes people make them not very good and they have to be very good. And this is what this slide is about. These lead magnets, these things that people are opting in for, they need to focus on specific problems that your ideal clients have, and they need to show the entire solution for your ICP. Not oh, I'm going to show you a little bit of this and then you have to get on a call to get the rest. Not oh, if you work with us, I'll show you the answer. Literally step by step. Here's how you install the thing. Here's how you do the thing. Click this button, click this button, click this button. Do this here. The more thorough and the more stuff you give away in these lead magnets, the more likely you are for people to book calls with you. They don't want to do it themselves. Your ICP doesn't want to do it themselves. They want to know that you know how to do it and they want to be given the full instructions. And trust me on this, if you give someone a half solution or you leave them hanging or you make them click again, they are never going to work with you. No way. Because they're this person has wasted my time. People value their time more than anything. So just don't waste people's time. It's really, really, really important kind of in general. And so point 2 is that these lead magnets should be worth $100. Really, legitimately look and think about it and say, would this be worth $100 to my ICP? Are they going to make an additional $100 from implementing the tactics or strategies in this document? Would they hand over $100 for this? And if it wouldn't do that, probably put a little bit of work into it. And so examples would be like swipe files or documentations of your process or case studies. So let's look at this one I did 7 months ago. So this is a swipe file, but it's not just, like legit, it isn't just a swipe file. Like I put it in this nice Airtable database. I tagged it all out. I kind of wrote all of these hook templates. I wrote all of these things about like why it's good. I made it really usable. I put a bunch of work into this. And what I'm suggesting is like, you need to put a bunch of work into it. The question I get asked a lot is like, how am I going to find time to make all these lead magnets? Like, isn't this like really time consuming? And I guess my answer is like, what else are you doing that's more valuable than this? Like your job, you run an agency, your job is to get leads for your agency. The easiest possible way to get leads is by making an asset that demonstrates the value that you deliver to your clients. That's called a lead magnet. Go and make one. It's really like the only thing that you have to do. It makes your life so much easier. And once you understand that and you make your job making lead magnets, then all of your other problems go away because you have infinity leads. So that's one example. Another one is an example that I did today. I made a big old Google Doc with 99 tips, like a big playbook. This is what I made today. The 2025 Agency Growth Bible. What I did was I took all my coaching calls, I extracted like 99 like actionable tips from them. The idea being that an agency owner could just come in here and kind of go like boom and just like find something and do something. I noticed that like something that people struggle with a lot is like, oh, what should I do next? So I just wanted to make like almost like a random number generator where you could just like do something. Be like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. Okay, great. That's another thing I should do. I pulled this out of all of my calls. So this is another example of one that's pretty good. This is not perfect. Like some of them are a little bit fluffy, but in general, it's okay. It's good because it's exhaustive. There's plenty more examples available. If you spend any time on the platform, you'll find a bunch of examples. Make them really good and then do these comment to get posts and just steal the same copy that I used that everyone else has used. Like, why wouldn't you? It's validated. That's that strategy. Strategy 3 is one that I'm not really seeing people take up yet. I think that's because it's just a little bit too annoying. It's a little bit outside the mainstream and you don't see it in the feed in the same way that you see these lead magnets all the time, but they're really good. It's really, really good. And if you're here on YouTube, you understand how video works, so you'll understand why this is a good idea. So if you look at these events, LinkedIn lets you have these live events, and this is one, and you can see here that I had 660 people hit attend on this event, and I think like 200 showed up live. I didn't pay any money for this. I didn't do any extra marketing. What you can do is everyone who is on your team can invite 1,000 people each to the event from their first degree connections per week. And you can automate that with a tool called Linked Helper. It's a really sick tool. You can automate that invitation. And so if you have 5 people on your executive team, you can theoretically invite 5,000 people a week, and you run 4 weeks of invitations and you can invite 20,000 people. And so the invitation like shows up as a notification. They can accept it. You can scrape all the people who accept it. You can send them a call to email. You can say thank you. You can try to opt them into your list. You can send them a calendar invite. You can try to get them to, get ready. At the time of the event, it sends them a little notification. You go live automatically, and then boom, all of a sudden, like you're in front of people. And so you make this an opportunity to share the value of what you do. You show your specific process, you answer questions. And I think every time I've done this, I've booked like 14, 15 calls, qualified calls out of it, something like that, to the point that like I'm not even really counting or thinking about it that much. But what you want to do is get in the cadence of doing these every month and just like do it and then start the invites again, start the invites again. It gives you an excuse to reach out to people, and people actually like to get invited to events. They really don't mind it at all. And yeah, it's just really good. It's a strategy that is very underrated. I know a couple agency owners who are doing it, who are getting a lot of their leads from it, but it's still one that's flying under the radar. So my strong suggestion that you do that. Okay, now let's talk about the perfect content system. Content pillars is a term that I never used myself, but a lot of people have used at me or have said since I started doing this to be like, what are my content pillars? And so I just wanted to figure it out to make it as easy as possible for everyone. And so instead of having to figure out your own and having to do all of this stuff, it's really only like 3 kinds of content. There's like authority content, which is demonstrating that you are an authority. Like, okay, what do you know? What do you know about the industry? What's going on in the industry? What's going on at a high level? Applying your specific expertise and knowledge to a situation. Then there's proof content, which is case studies, testimonials, anything which demonstrates the outcome of your service. And then there's process content, which is like how we do a thing. Here's how this works. I would say that typically a lead magnet fits into this category of, and this is broadly like top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel. Although again, these are things that you like apply later to that thinking. Really top of funnel stuff, like nobody who is actually going to buy from you cares about any of that. As far as a post structure, you'll see that posts follow this very broadly speaking, like the hook is the most important thing. You want to have specific examples, you want to have real numbers, you want to have a clear structure and a call to action. This is very generic framing of what a post is. The way that I suggest to write content is to make your life as easy as humanly possible and just use templates. And I'll show you what I mean by that. This, for instance, could be templated. Not only could this be templated, but it has been templated a million fucking times. So let's do it again. So in order to template this, what you would do is you would take this and you would just change the words to be generic words. So, I did X thing of thing on somewhere. I'm giving away thing. It has a million things. Thing 1, thing 2, thing 3, thing 4, thing 5. And honestly, I wouldn't even call this a thing. It's a other thing. To make it easy for you, something over number, group of people already have this. Now you've just turned this from something specific into something generic. So you can do this manually, and I used to teach people to do this manually, or you can do this with AI, or the way that I do it is with my fancy swipe file. So this is something that I built for our use internally, and we sell this to people now. We've been installing this for all kinds of B2B businesses. So here is my template file. So there's literally hundreds of templates in here. We rank them. We put them at the stage of the funnel, and they live in here, and we add to them by doing this. And so the AI is going to work on this right now. It's thinking about it. It's going to create a template for me. Template 351. Impressive. You see it's done the thing. State impressive achievement, result related to your expertise. I'm giving away describe valuable resource for free. It has contents for target audience tagged by their objective. And honestly, I wouldn't even call this resource type. It's unique value proposition. See, it just did with its own little brain what I did for you just then. The AI gave it a name, put it at the stage of the funnel. So now we have a new template we could use, 351. Free resource promotion with value breakdown. Very super catchy, super cool name. I can show you how to build this. I'll show you how to build this in a different video, or you can buy it from us and we'll set it up for you. So it's pretty annoying. Like what I'm about to show you is pretty annoying to build. It took a bunch of time. Then you need to think about how to generate ideas. A very common question is, how do I come up with ideas all day? So the first way to do this is create what I call an idea bank. And this is what I've been teaching people to do for a very long time. What you do is you just write down every idea that you have. It seems very simple, but the reason why this works is because it trains your brain to not censor itself as you're coming up with ideas. You really want to just allow it to come out unfiltered. You don't delete from this idea bank, and then when you have time to write a post, you go and grab an idea from the idea bank, you match it with a template, and you write the post. So this is my idea bank. Every time I come off a call, it pulls out the transcript of that call, finds a couple of interesting things that would be relevant to my target audience. It pulls out the idea, it pulls out any key information that you might need, pulls out the quotes from that, and it stores it in here. So you can see that I have hundreds and hundreds of ideas that have been automatically generated. I don't have to take content ideation calls. I don't have to do anything. Just say I want to write this one, how I generated 87,000 impressions and 1,200 comments in 3 hours with a GPT lead magnet. I hit let's write this one. And then what that does, this is going to be a very meta post, is it takes it over to my idea board here, and I've picked my idea. Now I pick a template. So I said 351, free resource promotion. So what this is going to do is the AI is going to combine this template with this idea, and it's going to write a first draft for me. And so I would say, like, in terms of the new way to do LinkedIn, like, this is definitely a new way. It's definitely not what people were doing before. What's the value of doing this? I never did this when I wrote. If you look back at my posts, like, I've been really like anti-AI writing. I've been like, AI is never going to write. Like, it's really important to write clearly. It's really important to write like yourself. I still believe those things. And I definitely believe them off LinkedIn in your real life when you're doing real things. I don't think AI is a particularly good writer. Sometimes it's okay, but I'm not like excited about its writing. But also LinkedIn is becoming more and more and more kind of formulaic as a platform. It's asking me for more and more formulaic things. It's responding to the templates that I give it more than like original thought and content. And the more that I like don't try to bring my brain to LinkedIn, the happier I am, honestly. Like the more successful my business is and the more leads that we get and the more time that I spend off the platform. So I'm not saying like AI writing's amazing, like this is what you should be doing. I'm not like psyched about this, really. I'm just saying like, here is a way of saving yourself some brain power from doing this task. And it does actually happen to, given the constraints of the platform, like work at least as well. And so here's the AI first draft, and it used, this is a very, very, very meta one because it's generated a lead magnet for its own lead magnet. So it's totally fine. It's followed the formula perfectly to make it easy for you. I did this, comment, and I'll send it to you within 24 hours. So all you need to do is touch this up and you should be good to go. So the key here is picking the right idea and combining the right idea with the right template, and then the editing, making this look really good. So again, I want to be super clear here. I'm not like an AI booster. I'm not like, yes, this is sick. Like imagine our future where we can just write LinkedIn posts more quickly. I'm just like, oof, okay. I don't have to think about this as much. I've been thinking about this way more than I want to for the last few years. This is a way of not thinking about it as much. I can get my time back. I can get my brain space back. I can go and think about other things. And if you run a business or if you're trying to do any of this stuff, you probably want to be thinking about other things. And so it's a way of doing that. It's nothing more and nothing less than that. That's how to generate ideas. That's how to generate posts. Just a couple more things that I will give you in terms of like how to do the platform. This does engaging at the right time does actually matter. It's annoying, but it does actually matter. If you show up 15 minutes before you post and like a bunch of stuff and comment a bunch of things, your post will do better. If you post in the morning, it will do better. And if you reply quickly to the first comments on your post, you will notice the difference. It's meaningful enough. Again, it's annoying. I'm not here being like, oh, this is great. This is what you have to do. I'm just like, I stopped doing this for a bit and my impressions like really tanked. So here's the DM strategy. The first message I keep really, really simple. Just, hey, great to connect. How's business? You might, if you want, do a kind of longer, more personalized thing. Hey, saw your post about this, really resonated with what you said. Then thing two, you can send them a voice message. And then for the third message, send them a lead magnet. Notice that you're not like pitching, you're like, I have this amazing thing. Just like send them stuff and just be useful. The worst thing that you can do is if someone looks like eventually is interested in working with you and they look back at their message chain and you've just been spamming them with like annoying offers, they'll just be like, no, okay, fuck that guy. So there you have it. That is the strategy. That's what I'm doing right now. That's working on LinkedIn in 2025. This is working really, really well right now because a lot of people haven't caught up yet, or they're just starting to figure it out, or they're still kind of doing what they used to do in 2022. So I guess you have a couple options. Either you can keep doing what you are doing, which is not getting a bunch of leads on LinkedIn, or you can keep trying to do cold email. You can keep trying to wait for referrals. You can keep trying to run Facebook ads and maybe you'll get it right next week or whatever. Like all this stuff, maybe Twitter will get better magically. Like none of these things are going to happen. Everyone is moving to LinkedIn. Like you really don't have much time to get good at this platform. So I would probably not suggest doing that. Another option is you can figure this out yourself. Like that's fine. And look, if you're not at 20K a month yet, I would say to figure it out yourself. Like join my school. Like there's a course in there that's really good. Like I used to charge a couple grand for it. I've just made it free. Like use that and just get good at it and get a Prosper account. Prosper is not expensive. I think I have a code in the description. You can use it. You save 20%. And then option 3 is like, if you run a real business, if you're doing 20K plus a month, just fucking get us to do it for you. Like we can either install the systems for you and train your team. That post generating thing that I just showed you, I can just have that installed by next week, or we can install it and then we can use it for you. We can just set it up for you, or you can do it all yourself and just join my coaching program. There's a bunch of different ways that we can work together, depending on where you're at and depending on how quickly you need to move, depending on, where your business is at. But all of this is with the goal of helping you reach 100K MRR in your agency business in 2025. So if that's your goal, if you're serious about hitting that 100K MRR mark and you know that you're going to need LinkedIn to do it, and you want to join the like 250 plus people, 6, 7, 8-figure agencies who have already done this with us, there's a link below and you can just book a chat and you can talk to us. This is only for you if you are doing 20K a month plus, please. I hope this was helpful. See you soon.